Let's go. They missed it. Yeah. He actually says, hello, citizen car, but you guys are all laughing when you saw the guy. Constellation Aquila. Some contrails. So we're heading towards the distress beacon. So the idea with this would be that, you know, you potentially could get a mission where you get a distress beacon and you're going to find out on, you know, in this particular case, this planet. So we're heading towards it. So I think this is telling us the atmospheric conditions are unsafe. And one of the key gameplay things we want to do on, because obviously the planetary tech is going to allow us to have a whole bunch of play areas we don't normally have, is to encourage players not to always, you know, maybe you can't always fly there. Maybe you have to get out and use your rover, for instance, which you have in Aquila. So it's fine. Let's go find a landing zone that's on the edge of the desert plain. You know, it's a little compression there. We've been working on that thing for the... I know it's a small thing, but I always want to have the landing gear compressed when you land. Right, so we're going to head out to do some exploring and the armor on. All right, let's get ourselves. Let's be nice and tidy, close the locker up, and then grab our gun just in case there's some hostiles out there. I mean, but this is kind of an example. Like, for instance, you shouldn't be able to sort of sit in heavy armor flying a ship. Maybe you're in your flight suit and then you go and equip your armor or your EVA suit when you need to go outside and do stuff. And so you sort of want to make it quite immersive and have different reasons to be equipping and using different stuff. So if you notice, this is the actor that we had that was in People to Planet. He's actually in Squadron 42. He plays a character called Joachim Steiger. So let's go and see the distress beacons about almost 3 kilometers away over there. We get our little scope out. All right, so let's figure out how to get there since we can't fly. So handily, we've got the Constellation Killer, so we have a rover. So, you know, if you saw the Constellation Killer commercial a while ago, we are now doing this in game, in real time. Awesome. All right. Nice. And you know, unlike, I mean, all those mountains we see, if we have the time, we don't here, but I'm sure when you guys get on Park Planets V2, there'll be lots of videos where people walk all the way around the planet, or they go to the mountain they see in the distance, because that is not a skybox, that is actually the proper mountains and geometry that's all there, everywhere. And that's actually the liberating thing with this tech is when you build the planet on a planetary scale at this level of detail, and of course you can see up close that it looks like what you see at Battlefield 1, for instance, in the desert, there, sort of Lawrence, Arabia. But of course it's all at a global scale, the whole planetary scale. And we have different ecosystems, obviously, we've flown through, so we flew over oceans, we flew over sort of grasslands or forest or over through mountains, and now we're sort of at sort of the edge of a desert and approaching a desert. Looks like someone didn't heed the atmospheric unsafe flight warning. If we take a look back here, you can sort of see where we came from, about 2.5 kilometers back there. And so we're heading past this rock out, this sort of canyon walls to head to the distress beacon. Check out something else we had here. A little bit of breadcrumbs. Orpheus Horizon, Javelin class. Wonder where that came from. All right, let's carry on. See if there's anyone around. I'm gonna head that way to get to the distress beacon. The music changing here is all part of the dynamic music logic system. So it'll start to calm down now that the combat's over. Right, so that's, well, we lost our rover, that's not so good. That's where the distress beacon's coming from. Was a trap. Alright, let's see what we got around here. Conveniently, some sand nomad dragonflies. last shot moment. There we go. Right, we've got one. We've got another distress beacon we blinked to, so let's go look for that. And remember, we came all the way down from planet, all the way down here, and we're down driving around in this level of detail. So that's kind of a big testimony to what the Proc Planet V2 stuff does, and the tools it's given the artists to. I mean, this looks amazing. You wouldn't think this at a global scale. One more escape pod, which we linked to when we activated the other escape pods beacon. So Vince, by the way, Vince is our lead QA in Los Angeles. He's a much better pilot than me. So you should give him your appreciation. Otherwise, you'd have me crashing into things. And if you see up there, that's the space station. And if you look closer, you can actually see the rings slowly rotate. But that is the space station we flew past on the way down. And that's kind of what the sort of tech and the 64-bit precision for positional space gives you. We just can have this dynamic range of scale that I don't think any other game has. So all this up-close detail at this level, at as high quality first person as you see in any other game, but on a global or a planetary or even star system scale. Right, so Orpheus, Horizon, Black Box. So we've now, between the two pods, triangulated to where the Black Box of the Orpheus Horizon is, which is the crashed spaceship. And hopefully we'll find it. Vince is undeterred by the impending sandstorm. But seriously, the sandstorm's an example of we want to have dynamic weather on the procedural planets, and we're working to have sort of a dynamic procedural weather system and things like sandstorms, hurricanes, various weather systems are all things that we'll model onto the planets that will add additional sort of drama and challenges for when you're adventuring and playing around. Alright, let's go check out these wreckages. Maybe dangerous out in the desert, who knows? That looks like the Orpheus Horizon in desert. But we're just gonna do it! And go out there. Yeah, I know, I gotta memorize that whole speech. There. So we showed you a crashed Starfarer, this is a crashed Javelin. Well, we'll just pop off here. Still about 200 meters away. And check out how we're going. Second. Looks like there's a sad nomad. So should we shoot him? Alright. Oh! Nice shot, man. Vince got cocky, he's like on the move too. Sneak up behind him. Watching the incoming sandstorm. That looks like it's getting close. Okay, let's get out of here. Shit. Come on, hurry up, Vince. Go quick. Jump. Lost our way in. Alright, let's see here. That's where the black box is. Box would be. So let's see if let's find a way out. Where we were at the Connie up there, which is probably about, I think, 8 or 9 kilometers away. Maybe that's not such a good idea. How did it? Okay, that's the first time it's ever done that. But you get to see the pull-out twice now. How did it go to the console? Did you get a key or anything? That was a demonstration of the what we can do with the procedural planet V2 technology. Let me just go to the next slide. So we're going to I'm going to hand it over to Sean Tracy, who's our technical content director, and Simon Vickers, who is a senior designer in Planet 42. And we're going to sort of open up the curtain a little bit. They're going to get in the editor. And they're going to sort of zip you around the planet we built for this, which will be a planet that will be in Star Citizen eventually. It's just not in the Stanton system. And so I can kind of show you some features behind it, and then there'll be a deeper dive done by the German office. So I'll hand you over shortly. And I have to say that that last thing was the first time I've ever seen it in any time we've done that playthrough. But that's live demos for you. So Sean, over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Hey, everyone. How's it going? All right. So, yeah, you guys know I get excited about this stuff all the time. So they thought they'd put a mic in front of me, and actually, like, usually I write down bullet points of what to say. I actually have bullet points of what not to say. So that's going to be good stuff. So I wanted to show you some behind the scenes. They want to see your screen up there. Very good. All right. So what you're seeing in front of you, myself and Simon work in this every day. This is the Spacebox editor. This is what our developers use to build our systems, build the planets. Pretty much anything that goes in the game runs through the editor. So you might recognize Port Olisar, but what you probably haven't seen before is the planet that's sitting there underneath. So one of the big things that we had to do with the CryEngine, and I get asked this a lot of times, like, what did we change from the CryEngine? Did we just take that and start plopping models into it or whatnot? Not at all. The terrain system had to be completely rewritten. So one of the biggest things that it needed to support, of course, was spherical terrain, like you're seeing up there. One of the other things it had to do was go up to a planetary scale. Now, the CryEngine terrain system was actually really good in the first place, but it was designed for, you know, a flat 8-kilometer sort of area. And not a true planet. So one of the other things is all this stuff is runtime generation. So all of it is happening in real time right in front of you. You saw we had the frame counter up in the top right for the entire demo there. And that's something that you know, any engineer, any artist, anybody working on the demo can really be proud of, because that frame rates of that level are hard to get when you're trying to do content to this fidelity. So one of the other things that you saw was the seamless transition from space to first-person ground. I haven't seen any other project or any other game, to that matter, that has the sheer range of scale that we have. So when you get really up close on the first-person terrain, it looks like you're down on the terrain. It's not blotchy. It's not too big. You don't get all screwed up with the scale. All right, so the next thing is that there's no restriction to view distance. You saw this in the whole pull-through in the initial demo, but you'll see this here as Simon zooms around within the editor. And again, this is all happening real time. We thought it best to show how we actually build this stuff for you guys so that you guys can have a little bit of faith that we're going to be able to fill all this content up for you. So one of the things we like to do is just kind of show the scale, because the scale is really hard to wrap your mind around. Even as a designer, it can be very jarring when you go from just a centimeter level of precision all the way out to thousands and thousands of kilometers. So he plopped a character in there just to give you an idea of what you're actually looking at, because it can be easy to get sort of a God complex when you're looking at this kind of stuff. All right, so I think we're going to go find a little area here and do a little bit of work, because one of the biggest and most powerful pieces of the tools, and it's probably what we work on the hardest, is that it's artist guided, but it's procedurally generated. So the artist can still have this really fine-tuned control over the areas that they want, but we can do it on such a massive scale, and they can even go in afterwards and sort of tweak up the objects. So you'll see he's actually just creating more landscape. We actually use an ecosystem technology to do this. So I'm going to let Simon paint a little bit of terrain here. And this is pretty awesome. This is what we get to do every day. So it's really exciting to be able to work on this kind of technology. And it's even better to be able to stand in front of you guys in front of this kind of technology, because there's 360 other developers that are working on this stuff. So got to say that it's a massive, massive team effort. All right, so what he's actually doing is taking down different ecosystems. The ecosystem is kind of like a high-level visual representation of a classic level, of a classic game level, really. So the ecosystem defines things like the general terrain shape. So whether it's desert, whether it's mountains, whether it's ocean. It also defines some of the main feature terrains, things like erosion or valleys and trees. And you can see as he paints around, it changes all the ecosystem underneath. All right. Shall we find a nice little spot to build up on? So while Simon looks for a little spot here, just to let you know, the planets are made out of all these ecosystem tiles or chunks, and it's made out of thousands of these chunks, and we can modify them again on a really, really macro scale, so on a planetary scale, or on a very, very micro sort of scale. So the first thing he likes to drop down is always a little bit of a lake or a river, So of course we've got the water support that we wanted to, but we had to actually rewrite the whole ocean and water volume system in the CryEngine to be able to support, again, this spherical level terrain. And as you can see, the results are actually really, really good. It's no pressure on Simon at all. So what he's placing in now is one of these object containers. So again, we thought it'd be cool if we really just kind of pulled the curtains and showed you how we make this stuff. So an object container is how we actually classify a whole bunch of different objects. So it might be lights, it might be geometry, it might even be script. There's many different things that an object container can contain. And the whole point of object containers is really so that we have this powerful streaming system so that we can bring in an entire level worth of content and then bring it out. And even better, we can fly around levels of content, which is what the capital ships are really doing. So this is the tower we just saw in Homestead. We're going to set up a little location here. We'll put a couple objects down, and we'll do a little bit of exploring. So you see how quickly the designer actually controls the procedural distribution of the trees, grass, groups of objects. And this isn't restricted to vegetation, right? You can do this with rocks. You can do this with grass. You can do this with buildings, maybe, question mark? We'll get to that at some point, I'm sure. So one of the things I did promise my German counterparts is that we'd keep the tools off the screen because they really want to reveal this stuff. They've done a ton of work on these tools. So a lot of what you see, we get to showcase, you know, the final results of this stuff, but there is so much work that actually goes into being able to bring you that, and a lot of those guys don't get enough credit. So really excited to be able to stand in front of this stuff for them. Woohoo! So he's dressing up the scene a little bit. He's trying to make it a little bit nicer looking. We've got a special little prop here that Simon seems to like to drop in. You might recognize it. So we're creating a little home for this crab. I think he lives under the tower. Yeah. Maybe he's got a family. Yeah, it's a daddy crab, you know. Yeah. Now we're talking, Simon. Now we're talking. So that gives you a really good idea of, you know, this took what, maybe, you know, 5-6 minutes, and we were able to build up just a little section. Now, you know, this isn't about to ship out to you guys looking exactly like this, but again, it shows. Oh, I thought he was mad. We would ship it, Simon. We would ship it. You would all play it, I'm sure. So again, we need to be able to create this content super quickly, but still have that artist input, because if you don't have that artist input, eventually you end up with very generic looks, and we can't give you these moments that we really are excited to share with you. So what do you think? Should we show that? All right, so the last little bit of this is kind of a fun bit. Is in a lot of game levels, the thing is that you're in a skybox. Like, what is so hard to wrap your head around is that that's not a skybox. That's actual atmosphere scattering that's happening. The sky is blue because the light scatters, right? So let's just kind of prove that to you. Those little sprites in the sky, they're not really sprites. Those are other planets. So let's see if we can explore one of those. One of the other cool things, anyways, just about our editor in general, you saw that while he's developing, he can actually just jump in and start actually playing the game directly from it. It's a super powerful tool. You won't iterate too much on stuff. If you have to shut down, take 5 minutes to reload some other executable, then you come back to your editor. Being able to just minutely change thing after thing after thing and jump in and try it again and jump in and try it again and jump in and try it again, gives you really polished content. So there's one reason I'm standing here talking about it and Simon's flying. He's a very, very good pilot, and I think we're about to showcase this, no pressure. So that's not a sprite. Let's go. All right. So a little bit of a different looking planet here. So this is kind of showing off a little more of the exotic ecosystem that we can do, and we barely just scratched the surface on how far we can really take the exotic bits. These are sulfur lakes. This place probably just stinks. I mean, it's super hot. The sunset, though, that you can see, again, with the atmosphere scattering, we get this for free. You know, not for free. I mean, somebody worked very, very hard on it, Carson Wenzel. But in terms of actually running in the game, when the sun comes down on the horizon, yeah, we're going to get that scattering. We get natural day-night cycles because, well, the planet's rotating. So you see they're doing a bit of mining here, but Simon's, he's brave. All right. Oh, you almost blacked out. We're all done. There's no pressure. But we really wanted to show you, again, like, without having too big of a demo put around it, we wanted to show you how we kind of, you know, level design jazz, Simon called it earlier, just something a little bit improv. And, oh, what's this? That's somebody's finding information with us.
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, there was So we're gonna go chase him down, see where he went. So it's an interesting ship there.